Welcome to the CISO Daily Update.
Oil industry giant Halliburton confirms issue following reported cyber attack. Global oilfield services giant Halliburton faces a cyber attack that disrupted its networks, particularly at its Houston headquarters. The company acknowledged an issue affecting certain systems and activated its response plan to address the problem. While the attack's nature remains undisclosed, some staff were reportedly instructed to avoid connecting to internal networks. This incident follows a pattern of cyber attacks targeting the petroleum sector, including high-profile cases like Shell and Colonial Pipeline. The FBI previously warned of increased Chinese and Russian cyber threats to the energy sector. Google Cloud leak linked to Shark Tank Contestant exposes 83,000. A Google Cloud storage bucket linked to Alice's Table, a Shark Tank contestant known for virtual floral arrangement classes, was found leaking personal data of over 83,000 customers. Discovered on April 28th, the misconfigured bucket exposed full names, email addresses, home addresses, and order details, including from companies like BCG, Pfizer, and government employees. Cybersecurity experts recommend revoking public access to the bucket, enabling encryption, and conducting regular security audits to prevent future leaks. Alice's Table and its parent company, 1-800-Flowers, have not commented on the incident. Financial firm fined $850,000 for violating SEC cyber rules. Financial services firm Equiniti Trust agreed to pay an $850,000 fine to the SEC after mishandling two significant cybersecurity incidents in 2022 and 2023. The first attack involved hackers impersonating a client to transfer $4.78 million to overseas accounts. Only $1 million was recovered. The second incident saw hackers steal social security numbers, create fake accounts, and liquidate $1.9 million in stocks, with $1.6 million eventually recovered. The SEC found that Equiniti violated regulations designed to protect client funds, reinforcing the growing threat of business email compromise attacks, which the FBI reported as causing $2.9 billion in losses in 2023. U.S. charges Karakurt extortion gang's cold case Negotiator. The U.S. charged Denis Zolotaryov, a member of the Russian Karakurt ransomware group, with money laundering, wire fraud, and extortion. Zolotaryov is Latvian national living in Moscow and was arrested in Georgia in December 2023 and recently extradited to the U.S. The FBI linked him to at least 6 extortion cases involving American organizations, including a $1.3 million ransom payment. Zolotaryov operated under the alias Sforza Cesarini and was responsible for negotiating cold case extortions. His identification was made through cryptocurrency tracing and communication analysis. This marks the first arrest of a Karakurt member, with potential sentences reaching 20 years in prison. This uni thought it would be a good idea to do a phishing test with a fake Ebola scare. The University of California, Santa Cruz faced backlash for a phishing test using a fake Ebola scare. A phishing test email sent on August 18, 2024, falsely claimed that a staff member had contracted Ebola and urged recipients to log in for more details. The exercise was aimed at raising phishing awareness, but instead caused panic and drew criticism for its insensitivity. UCSC's Chief Information Security Officer later apologized. The university plans to adjust its phishing simulations to prevent similar issues in the future. SolarWinds fixes hard-coded credentials flaw in Web Help Desk. SolarWinds issued a hotfix for a critical vulnerability CVE 2024-28987 in its Web Help Desk software, which allowed attackers to exploit hard-coded credentials to access and modify data on unpatched systems. This vulnerability affects a widely used IT helpdesk tool. In addition to CVE 2024-28987, the hotfix also addresses a critical remote code execution flaw, CVE 2024-28986, which was actively exploited before the fix. SolarWinds advises users to apply the hotfix immediately. CISA mandates federal agencies to patch by September 5th due to the significant risks these vulnerabilities pose. Microsoft confirms August updates break Linux boot in dual boot systems. Microsoft confirmed that the August 2024 Windows security updates are causing issues with Linux booting on dual boot systems with Secure Boot enabled. The problem arises from a Secure Boot Advanced Targeting update designed to block vulnerable Linux bootloaders, which inadvertently affected some dual boot setups. Many users running distributions like Ubuntu, Linux Mint, and others reported boot failures after the update. Microsoft suggests disabling Secure Boot as a temporary solution and provided a registry key to prevent the buggy update from installing. The company is working with Linux partners to resolve the issue. Security flaws in Dahua cameras being actively exploited, CISA warns. CISA issued a warning about 2 critical vulnerabilities in Dahua IP cameras and related products, which are now being actively exploited. Discovered in 2021, these authentication bypass flaws allow attackers to infiltrate devices by sending malicious data packets. CISA mandated federal agencies to apply the necessary patches by September 11th or discontinue using the affected products. Dahua provided patched software available through the cloud, their official website, or technical support. Google addressed the 9th actively exploited Chrome 0 day this year. Google released an emergency security update to address the 9th actively exploited Chrome 0 day vulnerability of 2024. This vulnerability is a type confusion issue in Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine, which could lead to crashes, data corruption, or arbitrary code execution. Specific details about the exploitation are not yet disclosed. Google updated Chrome to versions 128.0.66, 13.84 or 85 for Windows and macOS, and 128.0.66, 13.84 for Linux, urging users to update immediately. This year has seen a notable series of zero-day vulnerabilities in Chrome, with CVE 2024-7971 being the latest in a string of similar critical flaws. Slack patches AI bug that let attackers steal data from private channels. Salesforce's Slack Technologies patched a prompt injection flaw in Slack AI that allowed attackers to steal data from private channels or perform phishing attacks. Discovered by security firm PromptArmor, the flaw exploited the AI's inability to distinguish between legitimate and malicious instructions, potentially exposing sensitive data and secrets. The issue became more severe after Slack AI began ingesting not only messages, but also documents and Google Drive files. Though Slack initially considered this intended behavior, a patch was eventually deployed to address potential data exfiltration and phishing risks. Hardware backdoor discovered in RFID cards used in hotels and offices worldwide. Researchers discovered a hardware backdoor in MyFair Classic FM11R08S contactless cards, allowing unauthorized access to hotel rooms and office doors. This backdoor was found in cards from Shanghai Food and Microelectronics, enabling instant cloning and authentication with an unknown key, compromising user-defined keys even when diversified. A similar vulnerability was identified in the earlier FM11RF's08 model. The issue poses significant risks as these cards are widely used in hotels and offices globally. Cisco patches high-severity vulnerability reported by NSA. Cisco patched a high-severity vulnerability, CVE 2024-20375, in its Unified Communications Manager and Unified CM Session Management Edition, which was reported by the NSA. This flaw has a CVSS score of 8.6 and could allow remote attackers to trigger a denial-of-service condition by sending specially crafted SIP messages. Patches are available in specific software versions, but no workarounds exist. Cisco also addressed other medium-severity vulnerabilities in Identity Services Engine and Unified CM, but none of these issues have been exploited in the wild. Atlassian patches vulnerabilities in Bamboo, Confluence, Crowd, Jira. Atlassian released patches for 9 high-severity vulnerabilities affecting Bamboo, Confluence, Crowd, and Jira products. The security flaws include remote code execution, denial of service, and cross-site scripting issues, with some exploitable without authentication. The vulnerabilities, identified as CVE 2024-21689, CVE 2024-29857, CVE 2024-34750, among others, impact various dependencies like Bouncy Castle Java and Apache Tomcat. While no active exploitation has been reported, Atlassian strongly advises users to update their installations promptly. Over 3,400 high and critical cyber alerts recorded in first half of 2024. In the first half of 2024, over 3,438 high and critical cyber alerts were recorded, with the U.S. experiencing a 46.15% increase in attacks compared to 2023. Manufacturing and industrial sectors were the most targeted, with 377 ransomware and data leak incidents. Professional services saw a 15% rise in attacks, while healthcare faced a 180% surge, particularly in February, following major breaches. Emerging threats include a significant increase in business email compromise targeting smaller businesses, a 3,000% spike in deepfake fraud, and the growing abuse of open-source repositories. GenAI models are easily compromised. A recent Lakera report reveals a significant security gap in generative AI models, with 95% of cybersecurity experts expressing low confidence in their protection. Despite the high adoption of GenAI, 90% of experts use or explore it. Only 5% trust the security measures in place. Prompt attacks, which manipulate GenAI systems through specific commands, are easily executed. The game Gandalf, used to test AI defenses, showed that 200,000 players, including cybersecurity professionals, could breach its security. 35% of respondents are concerned about the reliability and accuracy of large language models, and only 22% having implemented AI-specific threat modeling. Ransomware batters critical industries, but takedowns hint at relief. In July, ransomware attacks on critical industrial sectors spiked, with 34% of the 395 attacks targeting these organizations, according to NCC Group. Despite major law enforcement takedowns of groups like Lockbit and AlphaV, the industrial sector remains heavily targeted, outpacing sectors like healthcare. The decline in overall ransomware victims suggests law enforcement efforts are having some effect, though it's too early to determine long-term trends. Additionally, InfoStealer malware, which helps gather credentials for subsequent attacks, continues to play a significant role in the ransomware ecosystem. While the number of attacks has fluctuated, the general trend indicates a slight reduction in attacks, hinting at improved defensive measures.
Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe to our newsletter at CISOheadlines.com. Until next time, stay curious.